Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Alter Ego Brothers. My name is Nick. This is Andy. And we are just two regular dudes doing regular reviews. This week, we watched Until Dawn, movie by Sony. And as always, there will be no spoilers. And we will give you our review and recommendation at the end, along with a special tier list. So make sure you stick around. First things first, though, we have a little bit to square away, you and I, Andy.
Uh-oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Roll the tape. There's kind of a Rami Malek adjacent movie coming out in a couple weeks with Until Dawn. Maybe there'll be a cameo. I'm kind of excited, but that's also one of my favorite performances by Rami. So
I'm going to bet no. Place your bets down in the comments. Do you think he's going to show up in Until Dawn? I'm going to say no. I forgot I said that.
I was right. Did anybody else see the cameo for Rami Malek in this movie? If you did, leave a comment down below. Speaking of Rami Malek, we did a review recently of The Amateur, starring Rami. So go ahead and go check that out. As I said, I'm the host, so I'm in charge of what we get to talk about during this review. And the first thing we're going to talk about is, did this movie need to be called Until Dawn? I'm going to let you start off, Andy.
In my opinion, it did not need to be called Until Dawn. It should have just been a blanket, a horror movie, video game movie thing. Half of it was at least not related to Until Dawn at all, and to the point that I think it was its own movie, and it was just using Until Dawn as a marketing gimmick to get people like me who played the game to go to the theaters, and it worked, but it didn't do it quite justice.
I think calling it Until Dawn really hurt what this movie is supposed to be about, especially for the audience. If you have never played the game, then you're going to be kind of lost. If you have played the game, then you're going to be let down. I wish that Sony would have kept the spirit, but gone and done something more original that could have been in the same sort of universe. I think that would have really benefited the entire production.
This was a note that you and I both shared. We both wrote that this definitely would make a cool video game on its own, and it's something that I want to be made by somebody. Please make it, because I will play this. It's a really cool video game idea.
Part of the appeal for this movie was that it has this concept where the characters live through the night, they try and survive as long as they can, but ultimately end up dying. Then the time starts again, they go back to the beginning of the night, something new is coming after them, trying to kill them. They don't know what it is, but they have to survive until dawn, which is an appealing concept off the bat. However, I don't think they lived up to that promise, and a lot of the nights ended up being a lot of the same sort of kills and murders and stuff. I think a little bit more thought could have been put into those, and the execution wasn't really there.
One of the areas I thought they did fantastic was I thought they really displayed how this whole thing works really well. I thought they spent the proper amount of time to help you understand that, okay, you live, you die, you have to repeat. The issue I had with it is that this movie really would have benefited if it was another 30 minutes longer. Because by the time they finally got that concept down, they just jumped to the end. And then you start to have a lot of disconnects in the storyline.
I think that they fell into this trap of trying to do too much too soon, and really less would have been more. I would have liked to see more original monsters for this group of character, and we did see a lot of them. They were just teased. You didn't really see anything come to fruition with them. And I think they could have leaned on that a bit more, and ultimately it would have been a better experience. I don't think somebody who is unfamiliar with Until Dawn will go into this movie and understand everything completely. I just don't think that that's a reality, because a lot of this knowledge is really weighted on you having prior knowledge before going to the movie.
And that's feedback from your dad, right?
Yeah, I took my dad to see this movie. He had never played the games, and I had to do a lot of explaining after the fact.
I just want to say one thing just to wrap this all up. And I want to talk about the sand dial thing. It's just not a good representation of time to create some sort of suspense in a movie. As you look at the sand, you don't really have a good sense of how much time is remaining. It fits the video game, it doesn't fit the movie. It felt like the writers were handcuffed where they wanted to write a story, but had to tell it like it was until dawn at the same time. That was a decision I think needed to be modified.
And I think with that, we're on to our final thoughts for the movie. Andy, what did you think?
I give this movie a 6 out of 10, and I don't recommend you go to the theater. I think this is one you can wait for streaming. As much as we can gripe about some of the things that didn't quite fit the Until Dawn theme, at the same time, I did enjoy myself watching them go day to day and thinking, how would I approach the next day? I do recommend you give it a watch at some point.
Similarly, I give this a 5 out of 10. There was a lot to like about this movie. Unfortunately, the story was not one of them. I also think that this is an easy skip for the theater, but it will make a nice watch at home. Which brings us to our special tier list.
Oh.
Ooh, that leaves us with a 5.5 out of 10. And so, oh yeah, we like that. That's definitely what we like to see. Let us know down below what you think.
And remember, we've just been two regular dudes
doing regular reviews. I do think that calling it Until Dawn, that's what it should have been called.
That's a whole different type of video game.